Hello there, my name is Baljeet. Welcome to my channel where you do as I say and not as I do. Today we're gonna pull the codes on the I35 and see what's going on there, as well as we're gonna fix the oil leak so it stops leaking oil on my driveway. So let's get to it. Alright, so I pulled the codes. There was two codes. I'm not sure, some malfunction or something like that. I can't think of it. I will put them right now. So those are the two codes that I got when I read it with my scanner, and I did some research. So either has to do with the ABS sensor or could be a weak battery. The previous owner told me that the person that was driving the car, they hit either a bump or a pothole or something like that, and that's when the light came on. So with that information and with the codes and all the research on the internet, my conclusion is I am not sure. So it could be the ABS sensor or it could have been like the battery. So I believe it is a new battery in here. So when I picked up the car, there was codes. I can clearly see on this on the dashboard there were codes on there. I think there was like traction control and ABS light was on. So I didn't have my code reader. I mean, I actually had my code reader. I didn't want to pull out and scan codes over there. But anyways, but this morning, before I even plugged in my scanner, the codes weren't there. There were no lights on the dashboard, so I'm not sure what's going on. So what I went ahead and I did is I cleared the codes, and this car does have current tags and I already insured it. So I'm gonna drive it for a couple of days and see what happens. Maybe it fixed itself. Maybe when it hit when it hit the bump or whatever the person hit, a pothole or a speed bump, did something, and then now it's fixed. So with that said, the one thing that I'm gonna fix today is there is an oil leak. It's coming from the oil pan. Hopefully it's just the oil plug. I hope so. That's like the easiest thing, but I'm not sure what it is. But there is an oil leak. There's a puddle of oil on my driveway now, and then also like every time I start I can see the oil dripping, and when I start it. So when I start it and it's dripping, more than likely it's not the oil plug. It might be something else, like gasket or something. We'll see. So I'm gonna put this car in the air, get underneath, and then see what's going on, wipe out the area and see where the oil is coming from. So let's get this car up in the air and then check that out. And then as far as the traction control and the ABS, I did clear the codes. I'm gonna drive it around for a while, for a couple of days, and then if the monitors are ready, I will go smog it and use that opportunity to just go smog it, and then just deal with it later, because that was one of the reasons why the previous owner sold the car, was because of those lights. He couldn't smog the car, so they decided to like not deal with it or fix it. They decided to just sell it. With that said, let's get this car in the air and find out what that oil leak is from. Alright, so I jacked up the car, put some jack stands, and then, like I said, first thing I want to do is fix the oil leak so I can at least drive it without it making a mess on my driveway. So that's my main concern right now, is to check the oil leak. So I looked underneath, and let me show you guys. It was leaking from under here. You can see it where it's leaking from. It's dripping on the floor right there. So it's leaking right there. So that's a good thing, because that's just the oil pan gasket from what I can see. So So I'm gonna start it up. So what I did and what I recommend everybody do is when you have an oil leak and it's like a little bit, it's been a while like this one. So what you want to do is you want to, let me see if I can, yeah. So what you want to do is you want to clean the area. So what I did is I sprayed some, not degreaser, but like just like diluted dish soap, just because I don't want to be using degreaser all the time. You know, it's bad for the, my plants and environment, but I don't know how bad is dish soap, but hope it's a little bit better. Anyway, so I sprayed some diluted dish soap and I used my power washer to clean the area. So that way I can see where it's leaking from, where the oil is leaking from, because when it's dirty you really can't tell. So really, to diagnose it properly, that's the best thing, is to wash and clean the area so that you can see. So now I can clearly see that it's leaking from right there. So it's leaking right there from where I can tell, and it's dripping down, it's not going anywhere. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start the car and confirm that it's leaking from there. If that's the thing, that's just the gasket, and that's easy fix. I was gonna do an oil change anyways, so I'll drain the oil, change the gasket, and we'll be done with it. So let me start the car and see what's going on. So I'll put you guys down here. Okay, so I had looked around, ran the car for a little bit. I looked in this area, I cleaned it up. Then I looked above it to make sure it's not dripping down from the block. Like, you know, I flashed a light here, made sure the oil was not dripping down the block. I don't see anything other than this right here on the corner, right below the oil filter, like right there is where I can see the oil is dripping from. So I'm not sure if somebody replaced this gasket or what happened. So not sure if somebody replaced this oil pan gasket or not, or what's going on, but it's definitely seems like it's dripping from this oil pan. So that's what I'm gonna do first, and I do want to do an oil change on it. So what I'll do is I'll get a filter. I have the oil, and I'll get an oil pan gasket, and we'll replace that and see if that fixes my oil leak, and then we'll go from there. Alright, so I took the oil pan, not the gas pan. I'm trying to mix gasket and oil pan, so I came up with gas pan. There you go, new word, gas pan. Wow, I must be tired. It is late, end of the day. So here's our culprit for the oil change. You can totally see this, like, you know, talking about doing things right. Somebody just put RTV and put the pan on. I'm gonna guess what happened was somebody hit something on the bottom, broke the pan or dented the pan that was on here originally. This pan looks fairly new, and then the I can tell by the drain plug is like fresh. It's a fresh drain plug. It hasn't been manhandled or, you know, anything like that. It has a fresh original gasket and everything, which is rare for a car this age, even though it's a low mileage car. Other than that, yeah, so that's our culprit. I did pick up a proper gasket and an oil filter because we drained the oil. I was gonna do the oil change anyways. I did check, the oil was freshly changed just like last month, but hey, anyways, so the oil is out, the oil pan is off, and that's our culprit. So so what you do is you usually scrape off this surface really nice and get it all nice and clean, and then you scrape the surface on the where it mates on the bottom of the block, and you scrape it with like a razor blade and something like that. Don't gouge it. So I cleaned up this pan as best as I could. I used this razor. I mean, you know, they're you can get a pack of these from Hopper Freight for I think a couple of bucks. They come in like 3 or 4 pack, comes with blades. I have had this for a long time. So you know, just scrape it along the edge like this, and get it all cleaned up. Then what I did is, since this pan is so small, which is I'm like a little surprised, this pan is so small for a 3.5 liter engine. I'd never seen that before, so you know, I'm still I don't know everything, you know, of course. So I cleaned it up with this razor. What I did is, since this pan was so small, I took it into my a kitchen sink. I wouldn't recommend that, but if you have like a garage sink or something like that, oh, I should have done that. I do have a laundry sink, but anyways, I took it to my bathroom. I mean, not my bathroom, my kitchen sink, and I washed it with some dish soap and all that. So it's fairly clean. I mean, it's still a little grimy, but I just wanted to clean the inside. I didn't care much about the outside. And then what else I did is I picked up this gasket maker or gasket sealant, because like right here when I was trying to get this unstuck from the bottom of the engine, it wouldn't. So I had to take a chisel and a hammer and, you know, try to get it unstuck. When it got unstuck right here, then I was able to just pry the rest down. So there is a little divot, and the pan is little and the pan is a little warped right here. It's not bad. I mean, I show you guys. So it's not bad at all, but like when you put the gasket on here, I can see it doesn't sit like 100% right here. I mean, would it be okay if I just installed it like that? More than likely it will be okay, but I don't want to chance that or have any issues. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put a really thin layer of this sealant around, then I'm gonna set my gasket on here, and that will do two things. That will help with seal it like a little bit better, like, you know, double protection. And on top of that, what I will do is it will hold my gasket in place while I hold this up. So that's another trick. So if you're trying to put a gasket and then like a pan or something, or a valve cover, so you can just put a little bit of a gasket maker or a RTV, and then put the gasket on there, and then that RTV will hold the gasket in place while you are putting the bolts the bolts in there and tightening it down. So alright, so I'm gonna go get my gasket and get this done. I'm gonna put it under the shade. I don't want it to cook too fast, and then this should get the RTV will make it seal and also make it stick to there when we try to put it on. So I'm gonna put it down there, and then I'm gonna go clean the bottom of the block where this mates to the engine. Alright, so I changed the oil pan gasket and I changed the oil, put the new filter on, and it didn't solve my problem. It was still leaking. So what I'm doing next is this. It's called the oil cooler, aka where the filter bolts onto, and it has a gasket. So this is the gasket that came out of it. So I looked around. So this is the next place the oil could be leaking from, and the gasket was only like, I think $4 or $5, something like that. So let me show you the difference. So this is the old gasket, this is the new gasket. So if you look closer, there's like a big difference. This one is much taller than this one. So I'm not sure if it's just old or if somebody put a wrong gasket, because these are like not that easy to get. My local store just happened to have one. I had to actually call 2 different stores, and then one said it was special order and the other one had it. And but it's pretty squished. This one is pretty squished, you can tell. I mean, it feels a little smaller too. So that could be it. That's what I'm gonna try next. Is I'm gonna put this in there, clean the surface where it mates, like this mating surface right there. I'm gonna clean all that up and then put this in the back and put it back together. It lasts not too much oil, maybe a quart. I'll put a half a quart and then run it and see if that fixes my problem, and I will keep you guys posted if that solved my problem. But this, I'm gonna change it and then I will provide an update. Okay, so I just got done replacing the O-ring, putting the filter back. I put a little bit of oil in it because I want to get the car down off of the jack stands and get it level, and then check the oil and then top it off. It has about like approximately 4 quarts right now. I think the car asks for 4.2, 4.25, 4.25 quart. But the reason I'm showing you the floor is this is where it was dripping. So no more dripping. I ran the car for at least a minute or 2 before. As soon as you start the car, it would just start like leaking. And let me show you guys right here, and if you guys remember where it's leaking from. So it was leaking from this right here, and it was all dripping down over here. It was coming down right here. So now there's no oil. It's not dripping on the floor anywhere. So it was the O-ring. So what I think what happened was, hold on one second. So I am not sure, but the oil leak is fixed, and that was my main concern. Like I said, that's the first thing I want to fix, because I don't want oil dripping on my driveway, making a mess. So that's like one of my priorities. We got new concrete last year. I mean, we bought the house last year, as well as soon after we put new concrete all the way around, and I'm trying to keep it in a good condition. One of the things I do need to invest in, I probably order it tonight, is one of those drip pans. Probably buy a couple of those from Amazon. I need one for the one for my garage and one for when I'm having a car outside, because my Eclipse is also leaking some oil all over my nice floor, which I'm gonna go take care of it after this. But yeah, I mean, we're sitting here and I don't see any heavy dripping or anything like that. I mean, there's some residual dripping, but before you would start the car and it would just drip. Like every 10 seconds there would be like a drip, and puddle starts to form down there, but now there's nothing. So there we go. So next thing is the lights for the traction control and all that. So I did check, I looked at it and I did some research and on the forums and everything. So it could be that it had an oil, it could be the battery. And the reason I say that it could be the battery is the car, they probably hit something and it started leaking, and then they tried to fix it. The car sat for a while, and the battery probably is not good anymore, because I looked at it, it was a 2017 battery. So that's a pretty old battery, so either it needs a charge or something like that. So that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna drive it around for a few days, see if the battery charges up, and then those lights go away, and then, you know, maybe that happens. If not, then I'm gonna get the battery tested and see if that solves the if that's the problem. If not, then I'm gonna go from there, because that was like a lot of people have said on the forums that it was like a battery issue, and as soon as they replaced the battery, all their electrical gremlins went away. And you know, that's true. I have experienced that before with some of my cars in the past, especially BMWs, and then, you know, luxury cars, BMWs including. They usually, like, if the battery, since they have so much technology and electronics in these cars, if the battery starts to go bad and it draws so much amperage for all the technology, then, you know, then all the main components are not getting enough electricity, enough amperage, so they tend to say that they're faulty or whatever. So I will put this car down, drive it around for a few days, and report back. All right.